Well, welcome everyone to the annual meeting of the Advisory Board on the Americans with Disability Act. My name is Beth Bizzuto and I'm the Chief Court Administrator. We also, as noted before, have Judge Anna Facito, the Deputy Chief Court Administrator. Am I echoing? Yeah, so maybe if everyone could go on mute, that might help it. Great, thank you. So we are the new faces to this board, but today what's more important is to recognize people who aren't here, and most notably, that would be the former Chief Court Administrator, the Honorable Patrick Carroll. And for those of you who've been involved in this board for the past decade or more, you know all the incredible work and progress that's been made under Judge Carroll's leadership, from our training to our local ADA contacts, to our administrative unit, to our national recognition in 2022, ranked first in the nation by the National Center for Access to Justice and Court Accessibility for People with Disabilities. So this is all a tribute to Judge Carroll's hard work, his vision, and his leadership, and we all owe him many, many thanks. We've also lost Charlie Epstein to retirement, and we wish Charlie well in retirement and thank him for his contribution and service. And I also know that board member Brittany Kaplan has moved on to other responsibilities in the branch, but we thank her as well for her contribution. And of course, for the entire board, for all of your hard work. So the first item, or actually the second item on the agenda for today, is the approval of the draft minutes of the March 2022 meeting. That's been distributed to the board previously, and I'm sure you've all had sufficient opportunity to review it. And I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Sandra. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Laura. Is there any discussion with respect to the minutes? Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Thank you. The minutes are approved. Number 3 on the agenda today is the discussion and approval of the draft 2022 report of the ADA Advisory Board, and that has also been circulated to the board members. And it's probably appropriate at this point in time if we have the divisions report out, and if I may call upon Sandra to represent Superior Court Operations to report out to the board, please.
Thank you, Judge. So I will be reporting out on the training initiatives, ongoing initiatives, and then I'll cover the future plans that we have. So as you all know, training is probably one of the biggest components of our ADA program here at the branch. It's not just providing training on the basics of the legal requirements, but also we like to provide trainings that relate to the human experience of living with a disability. So we continue to have over 140 local ADA contacts out in the field who get training quite often in different forms. So in 2022, we continue to hold the nuts and bolts of the ADA, which is the overview of the ADA. It is online. It is mandatory for all brand new employees. So that online class was completed by 410 employees. And additionally, the External Affairs Division's Experiential Learning Program. So about 140 interns complete the program as part of their training as well. We continue to have Service Animals 101, which is online. It's also mandatory for all new hires. We had 255 branch employees who completed the training. And I just want to clarify that these trainings are open not just to the new employees and the people who have to take it mandatorily, but also those who want a refresher. So I'm not saying that we had 255 brand new branch employees. I just want to clarify that. Then also in 2022, our Judicial Marshal Services provided training on different topics all related to ADA to about 108 new hires and existing staff. We also continue to offer the New England ADA Center 2 online courses available to all employees. We had 60 employees complete those online trainings. Then our centralized ADA office has been providing remote training on the basics of the ADA to 24 call center employees, many of whom are brand new branch hires. The training will continue in 2023 as well. We also have the new ADA contacts. As you know, we sort of went through a big retirement wave. So we have a lot of new ADA contacts out in the field. So we are providing them extensive written information upon their appointment. And we're also, they're working closely with our 3 judicial district liaisons in our centralized ADA office. And those of you who don't know, it's Matt, Heather, and Chris. They're in attendance at this meeting today. So also we have an advanced training for ADA contacts, and that was presented remotely 4 times in 2022 because of that big influx of new ADA contacts. In all, 91 local contacts completed the course. This is also available to those older contacts who just need a refresher. We give priority to the new ones, but we will keep it open to others as well. And prior to the pandemic, our centralized ADA office created a speaker series, Interacting with Respect is Everyone's Job. And these sessions feature people with disabilities discussing the challenges they encounter in everyday life. So we reinstated that by remote learning in September of 2022. And we actually had in our first presentation about 40 judicial branch employees who attended that presentation. We always get very positive feedback when we do those. Also, all newly appointed judges and family support magistrates participated in ADA training during our pre-bench orientation. And also the members of the centralized ADA office were able to virtually attend the 2022 National ADA Symposium. We want to make sure that the staff in my office of providing technical assistance to the field is on top of all things ADA. As far as future initiatives for our training, one of the most important things is that the branch has been assessing its request for accommodation process. It is expected that we'll make changes, and as a result of that, our office will be developing a revised training for all judges and all branch staff, and that's going to be presented in 2023. We also have here that the Administrative Services Division is going to continue to provide Title I training to supervisors. And last but not least on my future initiatives under training is that my office is collaborating with the Appellate Clerk's Office. We're going to be developing a training for them on how to identify those ADA requests that may be presented as a medical condition or a medical need in their filings. So I'm going to turn it over now to Mike for the CSSD training.
Thank you, Sandra. And Mike, it's yours.
Yeah, thanks, Judge, and thank you, Sandra. ADA training of nuts and bolts continues to be a mandatory training for all pre-service employees of CSSD. It is offered to all disciplines, so everybody that comes to us as part of their pre-service will get nuts and bolts. 289 unique staff took trainings last year, ADA trainings last year. Some of those were the Fair Housing Act, advanced training for ADA contacts, successful interactions with clients with hidden disabilities were some of those, as well as service animals. One of the trainings that we were very fortunate to be able to put together and got some very positive compliments from my friend Heather Collins was a training that was called Autism and Criminal Justice When Two Worlds Collide. This training was put together by an adult probation officer who works in our training academy and has a son that has autism. And I can tell you that 45 of our staff have gone through this training. Heather indicated in the very positive email that she sent that this would be something that she would hope would be offered on a more frequent basis to allow people to attend that training. I have talked to the Training Academy here at CSSD. We're in the process of trying to get a few more places on our training calendar so that other folks can attend. But the one reason that I really wanted to talk a little bit about that was that it's, you know, we sometimes lose sight of folks when they leave our buildings and they go home. And you know, I talked to Kashana about Heather's email, and you know, I think that Heather kind of made her day, maybe made her year, because she was just so excited that the training resonated with Heather and others the way it has. And we're offering one here in our central office at 455 Winding Brook in April. I think that one will be an in-person training, but we're hoping to offer it more frequently than we do. The other thing was that I just wanted to mention, and I appreciate Sandra and Heather keeping me in the loop on this, is we did lose a lot of staff in the last couple of years that were ADA contacts. So we had a lot of turnover in CSSD, and we've been able to identify new staff to fill those roles, and they've all gone through the ADA advanced training for ADA contacts. So I appreciate that, and I think that's all we have for CSSD.
Thank you very much, Mike, for your report out. Can I turn it over now to Laura Javino to report out for administrative services?
Good morning. Thank you. For the facilities portion, we are continuing on with our ADA building assessments. In the last 15 months, we have had 23 court locations assessed by architects and engineers following an ADA checklist. The Supreme Court and the Torrington Courthouse are currently underway. Site visits have been completed, and architects are compiling their reports. We have 10 courthouses remaining to be assessed. The reports are divide up the work into 3 categories. There is in-house work that can be completed, minor work that will be done or improvements, and then capital reports. We took GA14 Hartford 101 Lafayette and used one of their courtrooms as a test to include wheelchair specific seating. We removed a bench from the galley space. We resized it, reinstalled it, and now we have a label on the floor designating wheelchair space, signage on the newly modified bench indicating companion seating. And we're just testing that out, waiting for feedback from the marshals and from the clerk's office as to how that's working. We do appreciate the cooperation with the marshals and the clerks as far as modifying the courtroom. Once we have feedback from them, then we can start on other courtrooms, other court locations throughout the state for our future models. We have an architect on staff in the facilities unit who is now working with the clerk and maintenance department at 920 Broad Street, Hartford, in the juvenile court to identify a scope of work for the level 1 work, which would be work that's done in-house, whether it be lowering paper towel holders to the correct height and pretty much doing everything that we can do in-house without involving other trade laborers. We also are taking advantage of the elevator modernizations that we have started throughout the state. When we modernize elevators, we are also including ADA signage and audio enunciators. We have recently completed 2 public elevators in New Britain, 2 public elevators in Middletown, and 1 staff elevator, and design is underway in Hartford at GA14 to modernize their elevators, and Bridgeport GA will be next in design after the Hartford location. So not only are we modernizing the elevators, but it also brings us up to the current code. So that is, in a nutshell, what facilities is doing for the ADA program.
Thank you very much, Laura, for your report. How about Kristen Giantonio to report out for ITD?
Good morning. Thank you very much for letting me speak in this forum this morning, Judge. Appreciate the opportunity. As I had provided on our report updates, over the last year, ITD has worked in collaboration with our business partners at both the Appellate and Supreme Courts, Legal Services, and the Centralized ADA Office, and began the process of publishing an online version of the practice book that is compatible with software that can help provide individuals with certain disabilities, such as impaired vision, with a fully accessible version of the practice book. In addition to continuing our practice of providing previously only available in print materials, we will continue to work with our business partners to make sure that we have electronic and accessible versions of those important tools on our websites. In addition to that, the ITD division is working with all of our developers. We've had quite a few onboarded to assist with the work that we currently have in the division. To use training them to use a tool, it's an open source tool called Lighthouse. We have priority focus on our external websites and also secondary focus on our internal websites. The Lighthouse tool provides is a open source software that you can run on any website, and it provides an index score on a bunch of measures, including accessibility. And the division is going to continue to modernize its tools to help developers and testers utilize their best practices in several areas, including accessibility. So the Lighthouse tool platform, as I had mentioned, is open source. It's an automated tool, and it helps us to focus on improving the quality of our web pages. You can run it against any web page, public or those that require authentication. And it has audits for things like performance, progressive web apps, SEO, and accessibility features. So some of the accessibility features that it tries to target are whether the website has some keyboard access fundamentals for our keyboard users, and then also trying to have a controlled focus on certain areas of the website so that keyboard users or those users that may be using screen reader software can actually navigate the page in a way that would make sense to that user. That's the best layman's terms I can sort of apply to it. We also have a controlled focus with a tabbing to make sure that the tabbing navigates appropriately through the website. And so the Lighthouse tool helps navigate all of our pages and provides us with a report at the end. And so the report then isolates the key features that it doesn't consider accessible, and also provides access to good developer resources on how to remediate some of the issues that the reporting feature has flagged. And that concludes my report this morning.
Thank you very much, Kristen, for your report. So I think that covers all of our operational divisions. Are there any questions or comments relative to the 2022 report? Seeing none, I'll
Judge,
entertain a-
if I can just add the future initiative, the information section.
Sure.
Is that
Of
okay?
course, Sandra, go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you, Judge. So the branch is going to develop a brochure for members of the bar on Title II of the ADA that's going to include information on how to request an accommodation. And once, like I said before, we're looking into assessing that process, and changes will take place. So this brochure is not going to be implemented until after that. When changes to our request for accommodation process is finalized, then we will require forms to be revised, processes to be memorialized, and web pages to be updated. So all these changes will occur in 2023. Also, any items that need translation to Spanish, Portuguese, and Polish will be translated as well. And I think that concludes the future initiatives, Judge.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2022 report of the ADA Advisory Board.
Move to approval of the report.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 And any opposed? So the motion carries and the 2022 report is approved. So the next item is next meeting. Do we want to schedule that now in a group, or do you guys send something out
We'll send
later?
something out, Judge. I think we're looking at late winter, early spring of 2024. So we will contact everyone after we check with your schedule.
Excellent. Sounds great. So any further business? No? Well, let me say this. You guys are the unsung heroes, the ones behind the scenes doing all this incredible work to make sure that all of our facilities are accessible to anyone who needs them. I have to tell you, in my position, I'm so grateful for your hard work and your efforts. I'm so pleased that you are recognized as national leaders. We should shout that all the time from the highest point we can. Thank you, all of you, for your work and dedication on this board and to this initiative. I appreciate it very, very much. Have a great day.
Thank you,
I'll adjourn the
Judge.
meeting.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.